It's time to go racing here in Talladega, Alabama. The biggest, baddest track around is about to get set to rumble to life here with about 14 cars down there on the racing surface. A decent field size, all things considered, throughout the rest of the season. The Monster Energy 250 at Talladega Superspeedway will be coming at you shortly here. And we will be right back here with you and the starting grid. Qualifying just wrapping up. Let's take a quick moment here to shout out to the guys that help us get it all done. And we will be back with you in just a moment.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at thebuttkicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
Drivers, start your engines!
And welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. Qualifying is done and ready, and we're about ready to go here. So let's take a run down here real quick now through the starting grid. Started on pole position, shockingly enough, is Kenny Powell with the first pole position in some time here for the 24 machine. You've got Greg Wyszynski there in the second position. Then, of course, Clinton Hoffman sits at third. Al Kozlowski is in fourth. Chris Johnson rounds out the top five with Gil Gach in sixth. John Mullins in seventh. Wayne Grossi eighth. Craig Johnson in ninth. Ryder Drumhill at the last of the cars to set a qualifying lap down to the 10th position, a solid 0.4 of a second back as well. Brian Johnson, Jeff Shuck, Paul Olsen round out a 13-car field for today's 94-lap race. Hello and welcome one and all. I'm Miller Rempo with Al Kozlowski beside me in the commentary box today and down on the racing surface. Al, you've decided to come on over and join us here today. You're also down on the track today, so as the national anthem is starting to be sung down there on the racing surface as well. We got a little bit of time here before we go green, so what are your thoughts here on how this race could play out?
Well, I'm going to play the Clint Boyer of this race and broadcast from the car here and hope I don't end up like Clint did. The outside line here is really rough. You have to have 4 to 5 cars with you in order for it to work really good. You'll see a lot of side-by-side drafting. The middle line will try to go towards the bottom car line and try to draft off of them to momentum push them forward. That could work great if the bottom line holds their line. If they don't, we're going to be in trouble. So only time will tell if we're going to have a bunch of one lane driving or if we're going to have some side-by-side racing going on here.
It wouldn't surprise me if we ended up seeing a lot of single file racing, at least for the first stage of the race. There really is no need to, be going 2-3 wide right in the open stage when it's a 94 lap race, and there's only 13 of you down on the track. Let's take a quick rundown here through the schedule here. This is coming up to be the end of the first half of Season 2 here in 2020 for the iRacing Stock Car Association ButtKicker Cup Series. Next race up is going to be at Kansas Speedway. Then, of course, comes Darlington, Dover. 2 road course races into the tail end of the season in the final quarter. Those are Circuit of the Americas and Sonoma for the finale, with the Charlotte Motor Speedway Oval right in the middle for the longest race, 300 miles, right in the center of it. And then, of course, take a look down at the standings here as well. Clayton Hoffman currently on top with 208 points in the Season 2 Cup Series Championship standings. Craig Johnson is in second with 194 points. Chris Johnson is in third with Kenny Powell in fourth. Wayne Grassi is in fifth with Greg Wyszynski in sixth. Powell and Grassi tied for fourth and fifth place at 191 points. Brian Johnson sitting in the 8th position. Then, of course, comes Paul Olson, Gil Gawk, Jeff Shutt, Chris Severa, Matthew Sisna, and Eric Kling rounding out the field here today. Now, it is worth noting here that there were a couple of guys that were potentially looking to maybe make a return here. Eric Kling was among them. He is not down there on the track, though, so I think Eric Kling just come on over here, giving us a little bit of a shout for the grandstands there as we get set to go racing here. The pace car is about to pull off here, so about 30 laps is the estimated fuel window for the course of the night. And tires, they're not going to be too much of a worry here tonight, as far as I understand. Now, I mean, the super speedways, they tend to be one of those races where you can really double stint the tires if you really have to.
Yeah, we're probably just going to see one stop for tires. There's going to be some green flag pit stops here. That's a no-doubter. And it's probably going to come somewhere around a 33 to 36 laps. And you've got to have a dance partner when you pit here. You can't pit on pit road by yourself. If you do that, you're bound and determined to have a very bad finish. So watch and see when everybody pits. They'll be pitting with at least 3-car tandem here.
Still some ways here before we get things going. Let's take one more quick shout here to the official sponsors, and we'll give ourselves a quick bonus step away. We'll be right back for the green flag. Coming around turns 3 and 4 here at Talladega Superspeedway for the Monster Energy 250 at Talladega Superspeedway, 2.6 miles around this facility and 94 laps to settle things out as well. Kenny Powell is the control car out there in front. The pace car pulls down to pit road, but don't be so hasty. It is still a very, very long way all the way to the tri-oval before that start-finish line, which is not in the center of the tri-oval, but on the very far end of the tri-oval, right on the exit in the run down to turn number 1. Field starts to bunch on up, though, and this is where people start to get antsy here, so we just got to wait now on Kenny Powell to see what he'll do. Passing the good old "This is Talladega" sign, and as we get closer and closer to that restart zone, the green flag drops. We're off and away at Talladega. Already some cars in the outside lane fanning out right to the wall almost way in the background. Those are guys the likes of Brandon Drumhiller, Wayne Grassi, and others. The inside line of the great launch. Greg Wyszynski fading back in a hurry with the rest of the outside line. And Wyszynski is going to tuck himself back in line, leaving Kozlowski out to dry on the outside. Johnson on the inside of the 00 now. As more and more cars start to duck into line. Now it's single file apart from poor Al Kozlowski. Trapped all by himself on the high side.
Yeah, I just don't have an entrance here, and I don't want to take somebody out here, but once I dive in the bottom here, I'm going to try to keep working my way back up to the front here. I got some dancing partners that are going to work with me here, so I'm not too disappointed to go from 4th to 11th.
And now we're single filed out here all throughout the field, and this is how things are going to stay for some portion of the field. There is no need to really push hard early on, and they're kind of talking to this just before this race here, Al, is that single file racing will be the trend here tonight. There's no need to really push and pass. You really don't need to go 2-3 wide when you're on lap 2 of a 94 lap race. We'll be seeing that maybe when we get within 20 to go, but apart from that, single file racing seems to be where the trend might sit. But there are a couple guys like Craig Johnson and Brian Johnson. They're trying to open up a lane on the high side. Chris Johnson might be one of those. So 3 Johnsons all run to the top.
Yeah, I'm going to join them because I think that's where we're going to get our momentum here. As you can see, we're really traveling. One of them dodges back in. And we got a heck of a drive up here.
Jinski's going to lose out on the draft. He's going to cut back in line. But Brian Johnson's still trying to pull a bit of the toe there from Craig Johnson to the 83, but it's not enough to really open up the outside lane. Not just yet. This is a strategy race, and it's a long game race as well. These guys, of course, do have 2 pit stops they're going to have to worry about for sure. 1 stop for fuel and potentially 1 stop for tires. I know at Daytona International Speedway, if you're really brave, some people have decided to go and try to triple stint the tires there. Sometimes it works out if it runs green, other times not so much. Talladega, though, a bit more of an abrasive surface, so that might not be an optimal maneuver.
Yeah, they just don't have its top line giving it its all right now, so everybody's going to, they tried it once, they're going to buckle back down here and go single file. I'm going to stay down here until I can get up here close enough. I believe that's Greg Wychinski that's up there. I'll stay in this draft until I get up a little bit closer, and then I'll maybe go up high and see what we can give them again here.
So assuming this race runs out entirely green, this race should be done and dusted within about just under an hour and a half or so. That's kind of the estimated race distance for a lot of these races now with these smaller fields. But certainly here at Talladega, the laps here are relatively quicker than some people might think. 48, between 48 and a half and 50-second laps around this facility. So not a very long race at all things considered. 250 miles really can fly by in a hurry here, and well, good thing too, these guys are definitely going to need some relaxing here. Super speed racing looks so simple, but boy can it be stressful. Meanwhile, the top 6 out in front have started to really break away. So it's the 6-car train in the front with Powell, Hoffman, Mullins, Johnson, Grassi, and Craig Johnson. And then all the way back is the other guys, and they're back there because they're battling side by side. You got Wychinski heading that field. Then comes Brian Johnson, Gil Gawk, Al Kozlowski, Jeff Shutt, Randy Drumhiller, and Paul Olson. Now, this is a big problem here for these guys in the back. Because they're side by side with each other, they're losing some massive time to the guys in front, and they're not working together. And this means there's nobody to help him out. Greg Wychinski's even started to pull away from that train there in the number 2 car. He's using the combined lanes here to get himself a bit more of a gap, but he does not have the draft anymore of the field in front. So these guys in the back here, they have to lock up if they're going to really want to challenge for the lead here. Kozlowski trying to open up the outside lane here in the 00 Speedway Angels machine for G&G Racing.
It just doesn't happen, buddy. It just doesn't happen. These guys are... We lost that front pack, and that's really bad for this back to lose it here.
One caution or a bad pit call could potentially reel everybody back in here, though. You never know quite how things are going to play out. But yeah, you're absolutely right here, Al. I mean, you can get such a massive run down the straights around that outside line, but you're just not going to get anywhere in the corners. You're just going to fall right back and even further than you went before unless you have somebody to work with you. That's the problem with tracks like these. You really got to find yourself a drafting partner. If you don't find yourself a drafting partner, it's not really going to work. Now that you guys are single file out there is a small chance you could still catch that train up in front because Kenny Powell is right now pushing the air and then slowing the entire train down somewhat. Whereas you guys, you still have the smallest of whispers of a draft from Craig Johnson. Craig Johnson is actually kind of leaning back a little bit from this field. I think he's trying to do you guys a favor and reel you guys back in. That is just bracing for a wreck up in front. But there's already some disturb there in front of Wychinski, and he's pushing that out of the way a lot easier than Kenny Powell is pushing away the still air in front of him. So if you guys stay single file, there is the potential you guys could still catch them yet.
Yeah, we're going to catch him. It's just a matter of what's happening is Greg Wychinski's in the first to this second pack here, and he's got it to the floor. Everybody behind him has got to lift, otherwise they're going to ram into him. So that kind of pulls the field back a little bit. If everybody was able to, with the old package, just stay on the gas and train this thing around, it would work just fine, but it's not able to do that.
Well, what Gil Gawk, the second runner, has to do here is give Wychinski a little bit of a nudge, give him a couple of miles an hour of extra speed. Don't do it in the corners. That's a terrible idea. But do it when you're on a straightaway. That's the best opportunity to give Greg Wychinski just the smallest of nudges. It gives him a couple of more miles an hour of speed. Doesn't seem like much, but at a super speedway, those couple miles an hour, they can really make or break a race. So that's what Gawk needs to do at the moment. But I think he's a bit scared of getting up to the back of Wychinski because he is also leaning back from that number 2 car. That or he's trying to wait around for a run on around here on the back straightaway. But the way it sits, we're going to be having these two trains for some time yet to come.
Yeah, we don't want to try to pass anybody right now with this second pack because we're really going to pull it back if we do. I don't know if we're slowly closing in on them or not, but we've got to get within a second. It used to be a 2-second window was an air bubble, and now it's a second. So we've got to get within a second, and then you'll see how quickly Greg Wychinski will pull up into that first pack if we can get him there.
And right now, Greg Wychinski definitely needs that nudge there. He needs those couple miles an hour of speed because that top field in front of you, it is faster than you guys at the moment, and they are pulling away still. They're averaging about, well, last time it was about 48.5s. You guys are averaging 48.6s in some sections. So you guys, unfortunately, you're trying to drop it back here by about 1/10 of a second every lap here. So Gawk needs to give Wychinski that bit of a nudge there. Somebody's got to give Wychinski a bit of a nudge here. Get the ball rolling to get you guys back up into the draft, because unless you can really get out there again, this is where you guys are going to get stuck here. And you're going to be stuck here either up until a caution or until something big happens during the pit window in about 20 laps time.
What I want to see at the back of that field is these guys getting a little impatient and try to do some side-by-side racing. That will pull that field back. So if they can do that, I just thought I seen them getting ready to form that, and they kind of backed it back down into a single file line. If they would just do that, it would be great.
10 laps are complete here at Talladega Super Speedway. Let's take a bit of a moment here, and let's kind of go up front here. We'll ride aboard with Craig Johnson. We'll take a quick step away from you guys here, and we'll find ourselves right back. Let's take a bit of time here to do some crank it up. Clayton Hoffman has been shuffled out and sent to the back end of his own train. Craig Johnson is right now still at the very tail end, but Hoffman has dropped back quite a bit. The back train is starting to ease off quite a bit as well. They're down to 48.7s now. The train behind them, though, averaging about a tenth quicker now every lap, so they're slowly starting to close themselves on in. Now, the big worry here at the moment, in that front train especially, is Kenny Powell. He has been running out there all by himself so far. Well, not quite by himself, but he's been the one that's been breaking over the air. He's been using a lot more fuel than any of the guys behind him, meaning at this rate, he's going to be coming down a couple laps sooner than those other guys are because he's using so much more fuel, which means he could find himself without a drafting party here, and that would be absolutely disastrous for the 24 car because everybody knows when you're pitting at a super speedway, you have to come down with a dance partner. If you go down and pit on your own, it is suicide for your running order if you want to go for a win.
Yeah, I thought we were making some ground, Nolan, and we're just not doing anything. We're just staying stagnant here. We're probably going to have to do something because this is not going to change. I mean, the front pack is pulling away from us here.
It's again one of those problems of you sitting just at the tail end of the drive. You're at the point where you're not falling back any further than you are now, but you're too far back to gain anything either. That's kind of the big problem where you're at the moment. So let's kind of recap the field here. We've got Kenny Powell, John Mullins, Chris Johnson, Wayne Grossi, Clayton Hoffman, and Craig Johnson running up in that front train. That's first through sixth. Seventh on back was Gil Gok, Kozlowski in ninth. He's side by side right now with Drumhiller for the eighth position. Then Grebachinski in 11th or 10th place, just passing Jeff Schutt for 10th. Brian Johnson is in 12th. Paul Olson heads at the tail end of the field in 13th. And we're coming up here to, well, it'll be in a couple of laps here, 20 laps complete, which means we'll almost be a fifth of the way through this race already, and we're just over 20 minutes in.
Yeah, I tried to make a move and nobody went with me, so now we're pretty much screwed back here.
Now it sounds like Jeff Schutt's going to go up there to give you a hand potentially. He's going to let you back in line. So good on Jeff being nice and sportsmanlike. Of course, that is the big crucial thing here. You got to make sure that you make your friends out there on the track. If you make yourself enemies, you're not going to get yourself too far, especially when you're coming up to the finish.
This backpack probably should pit before that front pack. That would be the pit strategy I would work with.
What makes you say that?
I think that would be the smart move because we're going to come off. If nobody gets tires, we'll come off and we'll be in front of them, and then they have to pit. And if we get a good enough momentum, we just don't have the speed in this backpack. I mean, it's hard to say that when you have a leader of this pack that just is doing everything he can and he's just not faster than the cars behind him. Because there's a lot of lifting. I'm doing a lot of three-quarter throttling just to stop from rear-ending Greg Wyszynski in this 2 car.
That is another thing worth noting here is that Gil Gok is now taking over the head of the train, and he's backed the field up now into 49 range, kind of mid to low 49s, which is definitely not a good sign considering the front pack, well, they're still running mid 48s. So now you're about half a second a lap slower than those guys. You're definitely losing time now with Gil Gok out in front there. So that's not a good sign at all. And a bit of radio chatter over there. Hoffman says, no, don't worry about it. Stay the way you are. We're fine to have you guys. So some good old humor there. 3 wide now in the back train as Kozlowski has Gil Gok up on top. Wyszynski down on the bottom side. Gil Gok is dropping back in the field, potentially to save fuel. That leaves Randy Drumhiller up in the point. Wyszynski just behind him.
Well, we'll try this leader, see if it's going to do anything. If not, we'll have to cycle him out too.
Well, Randy Drumhiller has elected to make that decision for you. He is moving high, and he is going to allow a new leader to take place. So Grebachinski back to the point here in the second train here, running in the 7th position. Al, you're the driver in that 00 car. You know you need to give him the bumper in order to catch back up there. Be careful about how you do it, though. One wrong bump, and well, we all know how that is. We've seen the stories. It's always a risky thing to bump in the middle of the corners too, so that's like the one place you never want to make contact with somebody. The front straightaway, before and after the tri-oval, and obviously the back straightaway. The best places to get it done. So continuing to run on out there. The back train is still trying to decide here as to who is going to be, who wants to be the head of the train here. They're trying to kind of sort this out amongst themselves because they know they got to do something here. It looks like they're going to let Brian Johnson through to the point. They've decided here grill tape could be a deciding factor here. I'm not one to give it settles, but I do know when you put more tape on the front, that means less airflow goes to the engine, which means you can hit higher RPMs, which also means you can now reach higher speeds. So they're going to go 3 wide with Brian Johnson and try to go to try to let Johnson through to the point here. And this means that Brian Johnson, with the most tape in this backpack, is going to be heading up the point here. You've lost a lot of time in doing that, though. It was a 49.4. You lost over a second just to making that swap. But hopefully, with the new leader up front, with a lot of tape on the front grille, you might find yourself able to potentially have a good run.
Yeah, we should be hitting well over 200 miles an hour on this backstretch, and we're just tipping over it now. So I think we're going to get the momentum we need right now.
I have to wait one more lap to really see how that's going to play out. You were still kind of catching up to speed there from when you were making the swap as you exited turn 2. So hopefully it'll be good. The guys have been hitting speeds of high as 48.2s. So those are kind of the times you got to beat, and if you want to really make any kind of progress here. You're also, though, about, if I had to estimate, about 10 laps away from the pit window as well. So not a lot of time left before that pit window opens up either. And there it is, 200 miles an hour for Brian Johnson in the back straight. The first time that backpack has hit that in a while, which is definitely good. Up to 201 by the time they hit turn number 3. So there is a potential speed now underneath that number 4 car. Just goes to show that the changes in the setups can be so minor, but it still can have this much of an impact. Now the question is, what are the lap times in comparison to the other guys out there? The other guys are still running mid 48s. They have not lost any of their speed so far. We'll take a look at Johnson's time as they cross the line. Mid 48s. You're now matching our time once again with guys in the race lead. I just got to get close enough so you can be within drafting distance, but that's going to be a bit of an ask because they're already about halfway down the back straightaway.
Yeah, they're pretty far ahead of us now. We can just hope that somebody in that lead pack messes up on their pit stop here.
And you never know. It could be a very influential thing here to be able to properly utilize all of that. It's actually a good thing to note here as well, Al, is kind of if you guys want to pit first, it could actually give them a little bit more draft from you guys as you're exiting pit road. So it might be a better idea if you have the field to wait for them to pit first, kind of have it be a game of chicken.
Yeah, we know Kenny Powell's going to be pitting here in roughly about 7 laps because he's 7 to 8 laps. He'll pit around 34 because he's just using up all his field leading this thing. And we swap leaders around here, so we're pretty much should be on equal fuel mileage here. I got roughly about 10 laps left, so it's really, realistically, it's about 9 when you look at how big this track is. So we can go about 9 laps.
Still mid 48s. Starting to climb up though for the leading pack. For your second pack. Another mid 48 time. So, looking up to the point here. Kenny Powell still leads. Mullins in second. Johnson third. Grossi fourth. Hoffman fifth. Craig Johnson in sixth. Brian Johnson 7th, Wyszynski 8th, Doc 9th, Kozlowski 10th, Jeff Shutt 11th, Drumhill 12th, Paul Wilson in 13th. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll find ourselves right back just in time for pit stops.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at TheButtKicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
About to cross over onto lap number 30 here at Talladega Super Speedway for the Monster Energy 250 here at Talladega Super Speedway in Talladega, Alabama. The biggest, baddest track on the circuit has provided an interesting race so far. Still caution-free throughout the running of the day, and that's no surprise to see. We were kind of expecting this race to kind of play out this way, because last game looked at the outside here at Gil Gawk, just cleaning off the grill there, or then to make it a look to overtake.
I was looking to try to see if I can slide around, and we've got to have on the second pack back here, we've got to have some pretty powerful cars up here. And Gil, I think, is just along for the ride right behind Greg Wychinski, and that's hurting this back line. I could be wrong, but I catch a heck of a momentum pull off of him. Yeah, I'm not going to try to risk it. We've got to pit this thing here in about 6 laps.
We were told before this race the pit window is going to be about lap 30, so the pit window is definitely open now this time by for all of the guys still running out there, in particular Kenny Powell. We're still waiting for him to come down. That'll likely be in a couple of laps here for Kenny, because he's definitely got to pit sooner than everybody else. He has not been he has been running out there by himself in the lead for the entirety of the time. He has not received any help either, so not surprised if we saw Kenny drop down the timing order here in a bit.
Well, knowing when you green flag pit stop like this, you can win or lose the race. I mean, it's going to depend on how we all get on this pit road, right? We're nose to tail here, and it's not really good to be like this coming off pit road. You're 199 miles an hour coming off that corner. You got to slow it down to 55 miles an hour. That's a very hefty feat,
Thankfully, there's a lot of runoff down on the apron there where you guys can fan out in order to slow down at your own leisure. So there is no need to be running nose to tail right coming into the pit road. There will be different people taking very different lines down pit road, which is obviously a great thing to have about these super speedways. It's the same case with Daytona International Speedway, too.
Yeah, I'm about 4 laps, so I've got to pit before I run this thing out of fuel. Now, the pit strategy here is going to be fuel only. I mean, but you're taking that many seconds, you might as well take right sides on the tires.
I believe Jeff Shutt just called out 5 to go, and I believe he is referring to his fuel numbers. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, that's correct. Jeff Shutt's showing 5 to go.
Which means he'll probably be coming down with 4 to go. It's never really a best idea to run out there when you've only got 1 lap remaining, because if that car is spotted on a super speedway, you're in for a world of hurt. There it is, Kenny Powell into pit road this time by. So the first of the pit stop is going to be taking place on lap 33.
Yeah, we can do 1 lap beyond him.
So let's look up front here to the overall race leader. Yep, but he did not call this time by. My mistake. He said calling 35 to 36. Johnson's backed off. Craig Johnson's backed off massively in the 83 machine. He slowed down to about 160 miles an hour. I think he expected Kenny Powell to come down to pits and misread the call.
I think he's going to be pitting not this time, but the very next time.
Well, Craig Johnson is now in no man's land at the 6th position. He's running all by himself. He has no drafting help at all, so he's going to fall right into your clutches here. So you guys are going to have to keep a heads up for that 83 machine, who is now off the pace and only topping out at 190 down that back straightaway. Powell continues to stay out for the time being. We believe he'll be coming in this next time by
we've
here.
got to pit with him too. That's gonna stink. I don't have enough fuel to get around.
And Chris Johnson also down to the lane. So that's another driver in that opening run. Hoffman's going to be in this time by. So is Grossi. So everybody in that front pack is going to be coming down pit road, which makes sense to see that this means that they will be coming down with you. Powell said he's going to go down to the wall, which I'm assuming again means the inside wall in the front straightaway to give people room behind him. So now, this will be crucial here. Who will mess up the pit stops? Will anybody mess up the pit stops? All 5 cars off on the front straightaway, down to the pit road. And it looks like everybody's managed to slow it down for the pit road speed limit just in time. Paul Olsen stays out. Bad call there, in my opinion, for the 43 car, who stays out with no help whatsoever. So the front field is in at the moment, and it does appear as though they're putting tires on the cars here, Al. There are drivers that are actually putting tires on their cars. Some people have not, but some people are. A lot of people are actually putting tires on their machines. So questionable choice there. I thought you could really double step the tires here. Hoffman's off in the way, though. Kenny Powell leads the way off pit road with Johnson right behind. Hoffman third, Mullins fourth, Rossi fifth. And the second train still is yet to leave behind. Looks like everybody is taking tires on this stop. I honestly thought we'd be seeing a lot of people going for the double stint. You can do that here if you need to. And I really thought a lot of these people would need to. So, interesting plays there from a good old portion of the field. Now Paul Olsen just now came down pit road, so I have to see where Olsen is going to cycle out in the grand scheme of all things. Olsen is now in his box, about 33 seconds. Oh, he's overshot the pit box too. So Paul Olsen, bad call for him, who overshot the pit box after waited 1 lap too long to pit. 32 seconds and closing fast with the race leaders just behind. The race is just now entering the tri-oval. Paul Olsen just now off the Jackson, off and away. He is going to be losing a lot of time here, continuing to just tumble further and further down the timing order, and just now manages to leave it. This is really split the entire field up. It's only a 3-car train up in front now, and only about another 3-car train just behind it with 8th, 9th, and 10th. Everybody else is running on their lonesome.
Yeah, that pit road melee kind of caused some messes here. I'm going to try to see if we can gather up Paul here, and me and Jeff Shutt can have a 3-car, and we can try to catch this lead pack in front of us here.
5 cars are better than 3, and right now it's only a 3-car train running up there in the lead, and they have nobody that they can catch up to help them out. So that means that this could be critical here for some of these other guys up here. But 3 cars is also faster than 2, and you got guys like Greg Wyszynski, Randy Drumhiller, and Gil Gawk running up there. So you need to pick up Paul Olsen here, Al. You need to hope that you guys are going to be able to get some good speed here to catch up to that 3rd train.
Yeah, they're 4 seconds in front of us. This is a nightmare here.
Not so much as if you're trying to go for the race leaders. They're a solid 16 seconds up the road from you guys, so it's a far way up there if you want to maintain that race lead. So now the trains you got around the field, you got a 3-car train up in front with Kenny Powell, Chris Johnson, Clayton Hoffman, John Mullins, and Wayne Grossi are running on their own, but they're trying to maybe link up together. Brian Johnson, Greg Wyszynski, Gil Gawk, and Randy Drumhiller are in a 4-car train into turn number 1 from 6th on back to 9th. Then you have Keselowski, Olsen, and Shutt, 10th, 11th, and 12th, and Craig Johnson all by himself in 13th He was running up with the front runners. Well, not anymore. He is 27 seconds down after a horrendous time on pit road. 52 seconds total on the lane, so might have had to serve a speeding penalty down in the lane. So not good news at all. Well, the clock is still ticking here in this race. 40 laps are going to be complete this next time by. Let's take a ride on board here with Randy Drumhiller in the 4-car train, the biggest train on the field right now. And we'll step away and we'll be back in a few laps. Jeff Schutt just had a massive moment in turn number 3 and nearly wiped out the entire back train of 3. Keselowski was just in front. Olsen had to scramble up to the top line in order to get around it. It was all by himself, just went a bit too far up and had the air taken off of the front nose, or something happened to the 25 car, sent him sliding around and nearly wiped him out. Now, it is down to 2 cars in the back here with Al and Paul running by themselves, with Jeff Schutt trying to close the gap, but with no dice so far.
Yeah, we're pretty much screwed, Nolan. I was going to early pit this thing and see if we can make up some time on less fuel and no tires, but we got to have 3 cars. 2 of us together, or we're not going to be able to get it done.
We're past halfway. Round in lap number 53 here of 94. So we got roughly about 41 laps remaining here in this race. Let's take another run through the field here. You got Kenny Powell, Chris Johnson, and Clayton Hoffman in that first train. Brian Johnson is in 4th. Brabczynski rounds out the top 5 in 5th. Gil Gawk in 6th. John Ball in 7th. Grossi 8th. Drumhill in 9th. 4th through 9th are all running in one big train together. In the train of 6, they've had a couple of close calls on their own. Keselowski is in 10th place in the second train, if you can even call it that at this point. Paulson is in 11th. Jeff Schutt is all by himself in 12th. Craig Johnson officially 1 lap down to the 13th position. He is also in that first train, just kind of hanging out behind Clayton Hoffman at the moment. Now the question is, who's going to come down to short pit this one? When you get to about lap 60, you can come down and you will be able to make it out to the end, but who's going to be the first car to bring it on down? That's going to be the big ticket question here. Or are you going to be one of those people that will run this one out right to the end when your car's lighter on fuel, and then come down and short fuel there? Because regardless, you don't need to put in a full tank of gas to make it to the end anymore. Al, you're the one that was kind of thinking of fuel strategy. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm thinking I'm probably going to come down around lap 63 and dump about 13.5 gallons with no tires and see what we're going to do.
Closest pack at the moment is 4th through 9th. The 6-car train headed up by the number 4 machine, who is running the most tape. So, does anybody want to be behind right now? It is Brian Johnson. And then you got Drumhill just hanging out in the back. Rossi's been looking a bit squirrely in the middle line, so might have been getting a little bit unsettled running in the big. Well, big. I say big. It's not really big. Pack is a bit running in that bit of a train there. John Mullins making a return to this one. First race so far here in the second season of the ISCA ButtKicker Cup Series. Not the first time, though, he's been in the Super ButtKicker Cup Series, though. I am trying to find where he's sitting at the moment in... he's in 25th at the moment with 3 starts in the Super Cup Series at the moment. So that number 64 machine is looking to do a bit of work. This is only his 4th start in the Super Cup Series season. I believe ran the first 3 races and then kind of left with all the other Road to Pro guys like James Mullins.
Yeah, Nolan, we're pretty much in trouble here. Leader is 21 seconds behind us. Coming on the pit road is roughly going to suck that all up because we're going to be going 55 and they're going to still be traveling at 180. So we're going to go a lap down. It's inevitable.
Now, the one good thing about that, Al, is that they also have yet to come down as well. So you will be able to easily unlap yourselves. One thing you got to hope for is that there is not a caution between now and then, because if there is, you're going to be trapped a lap down.
Right. Yeah, and I don't think there's going to be, but we got no other choice but to pit at lap about 63 and try to make it to the end on the fuel run here.
I believe you pitting there was about 31 laps remaining, or just at the start of that. Well, let's why don't I tell you what? Let's take a step away here. We'll run a few commercials, and we'll be find ourselves right back here, hopefully in time for pit stops.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at TheButtKicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
Still a green flag, as to be expected out there on the racing surface. Kenny Powell is still heading up the race lead so far. He's led a vast portion of this race. In fact, he's led pretty much most of the race, except for like the one lap that he was out of the lead down on pit road, which is honestly really something when you think about it. I even think he led that lap too. Chad, I know he didn't because I now remember why. Paul Olsen had decided to take the one shot and led the one lap. So Powell has led every single lap but won this race. So that is really good here for Kenny Powell. He'll surely be getting points, for having the most laps led in one of these races so far, which could be very good for Kenny in his championship standings at the moment. We take a look at where things are sitting in the Cup Series standings for him. He's in 4th place, so this will very well put him up into potentially the 2nd position if he can win here today, because there's only about 3 points separated 2nd down through 4th. There's only 1 point back to Chris Johnson for Craig Johnson, and only 2 more from there back to Kenny Powell. And Powell's on time with Grossi as well, who is not even in the same train as him. So Kenny Powell's, like I said, to pick up the 2nd place here in the point standings.
Yeah, this is quite an eventful race. I don't know what to say about this. This is Talladega. I don't think with this small of a field we're even going to have any cautions. This will go green all the way to the end unless there's a really crazy move made.
I mean, we did almost have that one caution with Jeff Shutt lost right behind you.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be enough.
It would have been if he had lost it all the way and hit the outside wall, not so much. In fact, speaking of Jeff Shutt, he's actually just seconds away from being caught up here by the overall race leaders as well. They're down to the front straightaway now, about to start lap 63 here. 31 laps remaining here in this race. It's at the point now where you guys can come down, you can top it up with fuel, and you are going to be good to go to the end of the race. So fuel no longer concerned once you come down to pit.
Yeah, that's about the blunt of it here. I don't know what to do at this point. I mean, we're already going to go a lap down no matter what we do. I don't think we can pit after the leaders.
I think the big question is going to be what's going to happen to that second train of 6 cars there. That's running the bulk of the fuel right now from 4th on back to 9th. What happens when the leaders are going to come down to pit road? What's going to happen? These guys are going to come down to pit road. Do they swap around, or are they going to still be in that big train? Because remember, everybody was really split up at the end of that last run, but these guys are still managing to stay out there, and they're managing to keep it together. And there it is. I believe Kenny Powell just called it in that he might be pitting this time by. Nope. Disregard that. He was thanking Jeff for moving out of the way to let him through. checking with a couple of the guys that have been running down there in the back of the field. Al, you've been running back there with Paulos for some time. Has there been any other developments in the race for you guys, or has it so far just been kind of smooth sailing?
Now this is a Sunday drive, buddy. This is all we're doing is making a left, making another left, and a couple more lefts after that. It's nothing exciting going on.
You're about 36 seconds behind Kenny Powell now, which means you're just going into turn 3. They just hit the back straightaway. They're about halfway down that back stretch now, so they're starting to catch you guys as well here. So you could find yourself in a bit of an unfortunate situation. I'd say they're about 12 seconds or so behind you. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, they're about 13 seconds. A good thing for us is they have to pit here in the next 6 laps. So they won't pass us this time by, but before the race is over, we could be a lap down.
I know we're not saying a whole too lot at the moment out here up here on the broadcast. Well, I'm not saying a whole lot on the broadcast booth. Al's not saying a lot down there on the track because he's still concentrating trying to get that strategy figured out. I'm not saying a whole lot because there's frankly not much to talk about at the moment. It's kind of just one of those single file moments at the moment. We are expecting people to start coming down to pit road any time now, though. There's less than 30 to go, so yeah, we are kind of at that point where people are going to start to come down there. About 31 laps now on the stints, so we should be expecting people to start coming down a little while longer.
Yeah, no one. I'm gonna try to run this thing out of fuel. I got about 4 laps left. I'm gonna try to take it right to the window here and see if I can't just mosey on into pit road out of gas and fill it up. That ought to give me a little bit of time.
When do you come down to pit? This is definitely going to be the money stop coming up here in just a short little while.
Yeah, I'm gonna short pit it too. What I mean is I'm gonna try to come on pit road really hot and then cram the brakes and try to not get a speeding penalty. That's the only way I'm gonna make up at least 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds here.
Green flag stops underway here at Talladega Superspeedway. Brian Johnson leads down the first train, and he is well out in front from Greg Wyszynski. Gil Gock follows with Wayne Grossi, Randy Drumhiller. One car stays out. That is John Mullins. In the 64 machine, potentially a bad call from Mullins. We saw how well that went for Bolos when he stayed out. And now down to the pit road, Wayne Grossi with the less than optimal line. He had to back up a bit to avoid Gil Gock running them over.
Oh, I screwed that up. My gosh.
Al Kozlowski also down to the lane along with everybody else. And, well, Al unfortunately overshot the pit box. The leaders are also in pit lane at the moment, including Kenny Powell out there in first. Paul Olsen attempted to beat Al out. Might have actually gotten him out of pit road there. But the leaders are out just behind you guys.
Yeah, we closed that gap up really quick with them leaders on that pit stop. We should have been saving fuel is what we should have done, but we didn't do it.
So let's kind of wait for things to settle back out. We'll wait for the timing screens to fully update here, and then we'll put ourselves back into where things are supposed to be, and we'll kind of reiterate who the top grouping has been so far this race. Kenny Powell, Chris Johnson, Clayton Hoffman running the front train. They have lost Trey Johnson, who is back there with Jeff Shutt. They're now battling for position. John Mullins sits in fourth. He's falling back, though, into the clutches of Brian Johnson, Greg Wyszynski, Gil Gock, Wayne Grossi, and Randy Drumhiller. Al Kozlowski and Paul Olsen in 10th and 11th. And, of course, Shutt and Johnson one lap down. 22 laps remaining, coming to 21 to go this time by. Al and Olsen, you're both being caught by the race leaders at the moment. Looks like you guys are doomed.
Yeah, it's extremely important, Nolan, to have more than a two-car tandem here, because you'll see we're going to get overtaken here, and we're going to have to go high and let them by and just jump on the back of their train and, you know, see how it unfolds.
The two back markers move on up. Kenny, Chris, and Clayton will all dart their way through.
Now all this is going to do is help these guys. I'm actually going to try to work some strategy here and see if I can make this a little bit more exciting. I'm going to draft out of this and try to grab... Oh, there's only two cars in the back there. Yeah, I thought there was more than two back there, 5 seconds behind. There's only two. Yeah, this is going to be, fourth place is 14 seconds back. So this is exactly what we're going to see right here at the end of this race. As you'll notice, this 5-car tandem, even two of us are lap down. We're going to pull away from 12th and 13th dramatically here. They were 6 seconds. You'll see within 2 laps, they'll be 8 seconds. Right now, the strategy is just trying to see if we can get this pack up front here to catch up with the cars and put them a lap down.
Under 20 laps remaining. Let's take another quick commercial break, and then we'll take a little bit of a ride on board, and we'll be with you from there on to the checker flag.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at TheButtKicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
I can always make it a little interesting being a lap car and just try to go out to the outside line, see if 1, 2, or 3 will jump up there with me.
Oh dear. We saw what happened the last time we tried to make things interesting last week, Al. Let's not pull anything crazy here. 16 to go.
Thing is, somebody wants to win this thing, and it looks like Clayton Hoffman is going to want to go high here and stick his nose out there. Either that or he's sticking his nose out to, and I'm letting him know by sticking my nose out here that if he wants to go forward, I'm willing to dance with him here.
Hoffman started to poke the outside there, Chris Johnson.
Yeah, one of us has to go with him in order for it to work. I mean, it's going to be a lap car. It's going to help somebody win this race. I'm sure of it.
Well, Paul Olsen has a point there, Al. He is in the lucky dog spot. If a crash happens, you're going to be stuck that lap down.
Yeah, but what I'm going to do is, as soon as this... Oh, he got a little bit of the apron there. As soon as these guys in front here start to get a little squirrely and get a little rambunctious, I'm going to go to the outside with them because they're going to do it here. They're not going to sit first, second, and third.
It's starting to get to the point now where a lot of these trains are starting to kind of sift over and move over across the racetrack, particularly in the overall running here for the race lead. Another train, though, that's starting to kind of get a bit more momentum is the second train. Now, that train, the 6-car train from 4th to 9th, has reformed. It currently holds Brian Johnson, Greg Wachinski, Gil Gog, John Mullins, Randy Drumhiller, Wayne Grossi, all running 4th on back through the 9th position. same drivers that have been sitting together all race long, and they're still running single file. We have not seen a whole lot of double file racing yet, and it's kind of what I was talking about at the top of the broadcast now, what it would be like. We wouldn't be seeing a lot of double wide racing here until those last few laps, unless you're going for those, you know, lead changes.
Yeah, it is quite boring. I mean, so if one of these guys comes up, what I can try to do here is I'll hang back a little bit and see if I get that momentum pull to slingshot me around.
At this point, there is only 2 trains out there on the track. You've got the train back here with the first, second, third, and then of course 10th and 11th. Everybody else running through turn 3 on the back straightaway, or turn 3 and 4 at the moment. So if there's ever going to be a wreck, it's going to be in that second pack there, because they're also looking a bit squirrely with each other. People are starting to kind of dart in and out of line. So that could mean something's cooking potentially tighter. We're coming to 10 laps to go here as well, so time is starting to run out for these drivers.
Yeah, it looks like everybody just wants to kind of stay where they're at right now. I mean, we're almost 10 to go. Maybe they'll start getting a little bit of squirrely here in the next 10 laps. Right now, they're comfortable, you know. I don't believe they're going to stay there, though. I think somebody in that top 3 is going to make a move and try to go to the high side and expect one of us lap cars to go with them. Or if it's Chris, then he'll go take Clayton with him.
10 laps remaining here in this 250 lap race. Powell's starting to blink out a bit at the top end of the field. That's not a good sign, but gets it sorted. So seems like we're all fine and dandy. Had a bit of a scare there, though, in the overall running for the lead there, Al.
Yeah, Kenny's had problems with that all week. I don't know if it's just Talladega. It's such a big track and it draws so much bandwidth that he's just having a problem with that.
And now you're battling with Paul there around to try to go for that lucky dog position in the event that something big happens here, because that could be your ticket to win the race, whoever can get up into that lucky dog position there. So it's a crucial battle that you're fighting here as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to see when one of these first, second, or third are going to get the brave enough in them to go high. All they got to do is go high and, you know, suck me right up into them, and then it'll be a battle of the wits here, because somebody's got to make a move here, otherwise Kenny Powell is going to walk away with this.
Eight laps to go. Looks like Johnson might be looking to go for that lead here in a little bit. He looked to the inside that time on Kenny through turn 2 and almost poked the nose there, but backed out at the last second. You still got Hoffman kind of waiting in the wings at the moment as well. That 92 car is trying to find some kind of way to get through to the front. I think he's trying to set these guys up for maybe a 3-wide pass on the last lap of the white flag. Now, here's the other critical thing here as well. There is no yellow line rule here, so that means that these guys are allowed to go below that line onto the apron to make these passes for the lead if they so choose, opening up one extra lane here for basically a one-lap use only.
They just don't have a pair in them. They go out, step outside there. It's amazing. They're content to finish first, second, and third, I think.
Still way too early to start making moves for the lead just yet. It's those are the type of white flag moves that you see, and even then, you know, white flag on the last lap maybe. Now the big moves potentially could be starting now in that second train. That's where the second train can be seen. All the moves come from. You still got 4 through 9. 12, 13 are in that train as well, but they're kind of waiting in the wings at the moment. They're kind of just sitting in the back, letting things play out in front of them, saving a bit of fuel. So for guys like Wayne Grossi and Randy Drumhiller, now would be a good time to start trying to work your way up to the point so you can pick up a couple of extra spots. And in fact, it is going to be Wayne Grossi. You look into the outside line here on Randy Drumhill to try to get a bit of speed going on the outside groove. Down to the turn number 1. This is really the first overtaking pass or attempted overtaking pass we've been seeing all day long from Grossi, but I don't think this one will quite. Oh, maybe. He's still side by side with Drumhiller, but it's costing them time, valuable time, up to John Mullins as well. And Wayne Grossi still has no help on the outside line. He does have Craig Johnson potentially moving up to help, but I don't think it's going to be nearly enough. 7 to go, and Grossi is going to be forced to fall back in line.
Yeah, we're going to be 5 to go this time by. If these guys are going to do anything, they might want to get a move on it here.
Five to go. 4 to go, excuse me, here at Talladega Super Speedway. Kenny Powell continues to head the train. It'll be 3 laps to go this time by, and this is where things can start to get nice and spicy here. Kozlowski and Olsen still side by side for the final Lucky Dog spot in the rare event that something might happen to this race that really kind of changes everything. A caution now would definitely play in huge to how the entirety of this race would play out. With 2 laps to go, or 3 laps to go, though, I think a caution is definitely not going to be coming. Al has gone off to focus land as he is now just barely ahead of Paul Olsen in his battle for the final Lucky Dog spot. Let's cut back here to the second train here for a brief moment as we come around with 2 laps remaining now in this one. We'll watch them for a lap and then we'll cut back up to your race leaders for the final lap. Brian Johnson continues to head the train. Wyszynski is starting to look a bit squirrely behind, trying to maybe find any kind of way through in that number 2 car. He still has the potential to make something work. But up front, it is Powell, Johnson, and Hoffman taking them through turns 3 and 4. Kozlowski nearly makes contact with Olsen down on the bottom side there this time by, but manages to just barely poke the nose ahead. No dramas with the second pack off of turn number 4. White flag in the air. Final time around. 2.6 miles to go. And the battle is fierce for the lead as well. Kenny blocks low, then high. Johnson gets the run down the back straightaway, side by side for the race lead. Down the back straightaway, but no help for Johnson. Clayton Hoffman trying to squeeze in there as well in the 92 car. He's going to promote himself up now to the second position. Johnson still can't find a way down. So off of turn 4, does Hoffman have what it takes? Kenny Powell coming down from the start-finish straight this time by. Clayton Hoffman will not be able to get to him in time. Kenny Powell will take his first win on the season and wins it here at Talladega. Battle for fourth, though. Still yet to be settled. Brian Johnson trying to fend off Greg Wachinski. Wachinski goes high. Then 3 wide behind him, but Brian Johnson comes out in fourth, and the battle is 3 wide behind him. And just like that, this race is decided.
Yeah, and I finished 11th. It was a really good battle for 10th there. I don't know what first, second, and third were doing. They didn't want to come up. I know the leader, Kenny Powell, didn't want to come up, but Chris Johnson ended up sacrificing himself there and got hung out to dry. So it's just it was kind of a real boring race.
Well, let's take a look down here at the official results. Kenny Powell is in the first position here with Clayton Hoffman is in second. Chris Johnson finishes it off in third. Brian Johnson in fourth. Wachinski fifth. Gil Gawkins sixth. Brandon Drumhill is in seventh. John Mullins eighth. Wayne Grossi ninth. Paul Olsen is in 10th. Al Kozlowski is in 11th. Craig Johnson and Jeff Shutt rounded the 13-car grid. Let's take a quick step away. We'll be right back with the post-race show.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at TheButtKicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
Welcome back to the post-race show here for the Monster Energy 250 at Talladega Super Speedway. And, well, I tell you what, it was not the most exciting of races, but we did have a shock winner come out of this one. Kenny Powell takes the pole, leads pretty much every single lap except one, and then sweeps the race, comes home and takes it in the first position. Al, well, you were right up there with the leaders, so I think you would know exactly the type of questions that you should be asking Kenny Powell there. You're a race winner first time on the season.
Well, I'm going to start with the 48 of Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson, Al Kozlowski. You got a copy?
Roger.
Chris, second place, coming to the end of this race. You make a move on the outside, and if you'd have made that move just a little bit sooner, I was out there. I kept poking my nose out there to kind of give an invite to somebody, but nobody wanted to take it. Do you think that was probably the best thing, or did you think Clayton was going to go with you, or you think it was going to be a 3-wide finish? Give us some finishing thoughts here.
No, I knew Clayton wasn't going to go with me. I was backing down the throttle, trying to bunch up the guys behind me. You know, maybe I could get a lap car or two. I was just trying to pull enough momentum to get a run on Kenny's side, draft him, and slow him down, take the lead. But as I expected, Clayton went and helped Kenny, so I came home third.
Well, I mean, you had a helper back there. If you'd have just kept watching your rear view and seen me poking out, I was wanting to go, but Anyways, the third is nothing to be ashamed about. I mean, this was quite the uneventful race. Pit strategy seemed to work out for you very well and kept you about 10 seconds in front of fourth.
Yeah, I actually had a pretty good pit stop. I was surprised at myself.
Well, it absolutely looked great. How about some sponsors? We got any sponsors tonight we want to thank, Chris?
Of course, Southern Spiral, my main sponsor, ISCA, Kenny Powell for putting together an awesome program for us. G&G, Craig Johnson, he's technically my team owner, so thanks to all those guys.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Craig or Jeff there. They kind of missed their pit strategy there pretty earlier on and got really messed up. That's not like Jeff, but nonetheless, congratulations on that third place, Chris.
Thank
See if we can get all that second place. The second loser, Clayton Hoffman. Clayton Hoffman now in the booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Give me a play-by-play at the very end of this thing. What was your thought pattern?
I was in third position. I didn't know what Chris was going to do exactly, as he was broadcasting everybody no hard feelings when it comes down to the last lap. So I didn't know if he was going to try and wreck Kenny, how aggressive he's going to be. My plan was just to capitalize on any contact they might make, and if I had to make a choice, I was going to go with Kenny just because he's a team owner. He invited me to G&G, and it'd be awesome for him to win a race. And he almost led all the laps too, and got the pole, so he almost had basically a perfect race there.
Yeah, he almost had the big trifecta there. Well, you finished second. That's absolutely nothing to sneeze at. I mean, you started third, so you had a great chance of finishing up there in the top, at least top 4 or 5 anyways, depending on your pit stop strategy, which you, just like Chris, you guys had an amazing pit strategy, and it worked out for you.
Yeah, we had some really good pit stops, really just some practice breaking into the pits. We were able to get a gap between anyone that was really around us, but we were also able to stay right together so we could pick up the draft immediately. At the beginning of the race, there was something going on to where the top, I think it was 6 cars or 7 cars, broke away from the pack, and we were able to drop a lot of cars there. And after the first round of pit stops, it was just us 3, and we were able to keep it just us 3 racing for the win.
Yeah, there was some side-by-side racing going on there, and I might have partaken in some of that. That kind of pulled the draft apart a little bit here and formed some separate sections here, which is not a good thing. It made it for, like I said, a very uneventful race. But congratulations, Clayton Hoffman, at number 2 or that 92 car for your second position. Let's give a shout out to some sponsors.
I'd like to thank Kenny, G&G, ISCA for putting on this event, inviting me to the league and the team. Also like to thank Craig, Brian, and Chris for stuff they've done for us. They've really been helping out with setups for maybe not this track necessarily, but they've been helping out with other tracks. So it's been awesome to work with those guys now too. And I think that's pretty much it.
Well, great job. Great finish there, Clayton. Let's see if we can get a hold of Mr. Kenny Powell. Mr. Kenny Powell in that 24 machine. You got a copy?
I got a copy, yeah.
Kenny, I mean, this is the first time we've talked to you, and not in a bad way.
Well, I did get third a couple weeks ago, so that was good. I've been here before, but not as a win, so it feels very good.
You had the pole. You almost, if Paul Olsen wouldn't have pulled off that one extra lap there, you'd have had all the laps led, and you won the race. I mean, you had the perfect trifecta for Talladega. Walk us through this from start to finish. Did you have any concerns?
I've been strong here all week. I like the car. I've definitely worked on the car. So I knew I had a good shot. I won my last race in the A Open last night. I won that one and pretty much led most of that. So I knew that I could qualify probably top 3. I didn't know I was going to get the pole. So that was a nice surprise. But I called it almost from the get-go that it was going to be probably a caution-free race. Early on, we were going to break into 2 or 3 packs, and by the end, we were just going to be a 3-car breakaway, and it played out almost exactly to the T.
Well, it certainly did. There was some misjudgment on folks. I think you know, I unchecked some tires and they didn't uncheck properly. So I took some tires and I messed my whole race up here. But you performed flawlessly. Congratulations on the win, Kenny.
Well,
Give a shout out to see if we can get some other drivers in here. Give us some information on the ISCA and how drivers can get in here and where they can go to find out about it, and just fill us in.
absolutely. So, yeah, the ISCAs, we've been around for a while, but recently we've taken a little hit. A lot of our drivers went to race Road to Pro, so we do have some openings. And if you're seeing this, watching it, the best way to get a hold of the league is to go to iRacingStockCarAssociation.com. We got a website out there. It tells you about our different series. We run a Cup Series, a Super Cup Series, and a DraftKings Challenge, which is the super speedways once a month. So a couple of different things to do here at the ISCA. And like I said, we if you watch the broadcast, a little short on drivers. We used to have a full field of 30, 35, and we'd like to get back there. So go to that website, read the directions there. Most at the bottom of most of those pages are our Discord link, and a link to the actual iRacing League page where you can apply there.
Good job. How about some sponsor thanks? And let's try not to forget our commentator up here, Nolan. He does a wonderful job up here to watch a race that was uneventful like this and still try to make up some stuff to talk about.
Yeah, that's true. I can't do it alone. I definitely couldn't do it without Al and Nolan and Rob in the background there. Those guys do a tremendous job, so I appreciate the heck out of them. And as far as, getting here today in this place, I definitely have a great team. Love all the guys I work with, and we do good. We gel together and put out some good setups. Yeah, can't be happier about what's happening.
Well, where we go next week, that's going to be a little bit more exciting than this was this week. Tell us where we're heading to next week.
I believe next week is there Kansas, so we're getting back to the mile and a halves, and should be a good one.
It absolutely should be a good one. I can't wait. Until next week, Nolan, we got anything you want to give a shout out to any of our winners here tonight?
Well, definitely good job on Kenny Powell for being able to put it done, and definitely for being able to hold Chris Johns behind, even force him back into third as well. Was just able to get the power down and outrun Clayton Hoffman right at the end. So good job to Kenny for making that first win happen.
Thank you.
Well, I guess until next week, we will see you at, I believe he said Kansas, more eventful track. Till then.